And we are live, everybody. Welcome back. Happy Friday to another episode of Shelf-Esteem and Shelf Talkers, episode 6, where I talk to my favorite booktubers and authors all about books, about life, about anything under the sun as topics come in a casual format. And I'm very excited today to have one of my personal favorite booktubers who's newer on the scene but has made his mark already, in my opinion. Jake from Nerd Level Rising. Probably a lot of you know of him. I love the way he speaks about books in a laid-back style, and we both have a lot of similar kind of tastes in books. Wars of Light and Shadow, I know we'll have a lot to talk about with that. And of course, we're both part of the long-haired crew, and as I like to say, long-haired crew have to stick together. So thanks for coming on, man. How are you?
Of course, dude. Here we go. I gotta live up to the hype here with the
There
hair,
you go.
I guess.
Nice. Awesome. Love to see it.
I was at the gym right before this, so I got to get it out of the way. But thank you so much for having me, dude. I had such a blast talking to you last time, and I was hoping we wouldn't have to wait too long to do it again. And lo and behold, here we are. So
Likewise,
I'm honored to be here. Honored to be within some of the early episodes of your show here. That's awesome. Number 6, pretty cool. Top 10, you could say.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's awesome.
It's wonderful, man. I had such a good time talking to you as well, and I just feel like we're cut of the same cloth in so many respects, and it was just easy to make fast. And it's like I find it so interesting how on BookTube we can find this commonality of books that we like, but it's usually the springboard to other conversations too. Have you found this to be true? Like where it's 100%. Like you develop real friendships through this platform, which is just 100%. Amazing.
It really is. It's crazy. I remember before I started my channel, I watched a bunch of people, but like many people, John and Jacob from Talking Story were a big influence. Just great channel, obviously.
Oh, right? Yeah.
But John would always talk about how like it literally changed his life, his BookTube channel, and I was like, that sounds great. I don't know. Is that actually true? I don't know. He's just such a nice guy, but he's spot on. Like I don't know of another way to say it. You make genuine friends. It's just so fun and fulfilling and just, I don't know. It's incredible. And you meet people from all over the world. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. Like anytime I go now to visit a place, I already have like, oh, I'd love to visit so-and-so,
Yeah.
It's really wonderful. And I think, that idea of like it changing one's life, I know for me, and I would love to kind of like talk about your BookTube journey and then, your decision to start a channel. I know for me, like watching BookTube for years changed me as a person because I discovered that there was such a large community that are very accepting of each other's reading addictions.
Yeah.
And,
Enablers.
and also just like genuinely cool people that want to talk about something that is not often talked about in society, the joy of reading, with literacy rates going down all over the world. Like you see it, you see these telltale signs, but then you see that the community is very strong. So that's really cool. But then I also have this theory that like when you give a lot of yourself, just almost just for the love of the community, I mean, like all of us who do this, it's like it's a lot of work that goes into it too, and a lot of time, but we do it because we love it. We love the community. And when you give of yourself like that without some sort of expectation of like a transactional expectation, I guess you could say, I think that transforms a person anyways.
Yeah. I very well said. Very well said. I agree completely. That's like I think about it sometimes too, because I have the way my brain works a lot of the time is if I'm doing a thing, like how do I optimize? Like how do I get the most out of this thing? How do I make it productive? How do I sometimes then it becomes, well, how do I monetize this? Or like I have that sort of entrepreneur brain.
Yeah.
And which I'm grateful for, but sometimes it's a double-edged sword. Like sometimes you just want to have something that's fun just for the sake of being fun.
Yeah.
And I actually resisted starting a channel for a long time because I didn't want to make reading something that wasn't just purely fun. And I was worried that I'd be like, oh, well, what about the analytics? And what about like, oh, can I make money from this? And and that would take away from it. And I'm so glad that I started the channel because those things are, you can just not worry about those things. And it's like, it's fun to see the channel grow. It's fun to see, subscribers go up or whatever. It's, the day you become monetized, it's like, yeah, it's just like a cool, I don't know, milestone kind of thing. But at the end of the day, it's such a small part of why this is cool. Like it's just like you said, the relationships and just being able to talk about this thing that we love. But it's been, I don't know, it's like a weird it's a, what am I trying to say? It's like I understand the draw of people who want to like dive in to like the YouTube thing of like, okay, well, when can I do memberships? When can I do Patreon? When can, like, I understand it, right? I can see the temptation that's there. But I'm glad that I followed a bunch of channels that didn't do that. So like my role models in the space, so to speak, were like, just be here for fun and for the people, and if that stuff comes, awesome. But you know, whatever. So
no, preaching to the choir, man. I completely feel the same way. I think like I think we're very lucky also that we can take something that would be as niche as fantasy YouTube reading, you know, and find millions of people all over the world. Like even a niche is millions of people now because of the way we're all connected, you know.
Yeah. And you're about to reach an even larger portion of people because you're going to be talking to one of the OG booktubers pretty soon, huh?
Yeah, so I got a chance to actually we ended up doing like a pre-recorded interview style format on Daniel Green. I think he mentioned it might be on his interview channel. So he like interviews a lot of authors and people like that. Unsheveled Goblin, it might be. I forgot which one it is. The slightly less disheveled Goblin. And so and I think that's a good segue kind of to talk about also like what got us started in BookTube. Like for me, I know I didn't know anything about BookTube, and I was just looking for Wheel of Time reviews, and I stumbled on Daniel Green's channel, and then shortly thereafter Mike's book reviews. But and I was like, what? Like people, this is a community? I was just looking for reviews, you know, to get a little extra context for these 2,800 characters I was about to meet. So tell me about your journey, kind of how you discovered it and everything.
Yeah, it was very similar, to be honest. I was reading the Wheel of Time and I was like, has anybody there? So it was sort of two things. One was, is there like a review, or like, can someone just tell me like, what did I miss or whatever? But then it was also, I want to know like some other similar things. Like I don't know, like where do I go next, right? So I was just like Googling. I didn't watch. Dude, people these days, they grow up just watching YouTube all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean? Like that just wasn't a thing that I did. So like I didn't realize that this whole thing was a thing. So I was just Googling it and randomly one of the videos popped up. And I'm glad I watched it. This is, and I'm sure you remember, these are like the old days of Daniel Green, like very low energy, very you know, very different from his current stuff.
The whistling intro, you know.
Yeah. I love it again. But yeah, they were great, and like you shortly after found Mike, and through him found like Philip, and then you know, John came. Like there's a bunch of people. There's even people through Daniel, like seeing like Murphy and Elliot Brooks. I found really early on. There's a bunch of people. There's so many. But yeah, just kind of spread out like that, and I was watching, and then when I started reading Malazan, I started to see a lot more of Philip's stuff, a lot more of AP's stuff, and then Joanna, and then Janny Wurts, and then like Alan, like so many people, and it just kept spreading, and I was just like, man, like these people are so cool. Like I just want to talk to them, and I never left comments or anything. I just kind of lurked, and eventually I was just like, man, like I spent all this time reading. Let's like, I don't know, should I do something with, like, what can I do with this? And like I was mentioning earlier, it was kind of a weird push and pull. Like I don't want to take the fun out of it. And so like, I don't want to, if I do this channel thing, it's not going to be to try to make money. Like that'll take the fun out of it. I tried to do that I did that with art when I was like, I was probably 17 at the time. I grew up like drawing and painting and stuff a lot.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was so fun, and I wanted to be a tattooer. That was like my dream, and I was like, I had like a portfolio, and I was going to shops and like showing them and like all this stuff. And the more I did that, the less fun it was. It was just it was just like it feels like a job now. And now I don't do any of that stuff. I don't draw or paint at all anymore. And like it's okay. I do other things, but nonetheless, it is it just kind of took the fun out of it. So I was scared of that happening with reading. And so I was like, I'm not going to treat this like a job. I'm going to go in and have fun. No pressure, just make some friends, whatever. Here we are. We made a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we did it.
It's amazing, man.
Yeah.
You know, I can totally relate to that because I know for me, like music, promoting music as a composer, it's just such a daunting experience. And
Sure.
because, you know, you're kind of tied to it emotionally in a different
Yeah.
way than when you're talking about someone else's work that you're reading and enjoying. I find it, you know, easier to kind of gush about that stuff than to talk about my own stuff.
100%.
And so I always struggled with that, and I would see all these like Gen Zers so good at social media, and I was like doing all these amazing videos and stuff, and I was like, oh man, I have to learn, you know, learn how to do that stuff, or at least get comfortable with it. So
Yeah.
BookTube was kind of a way of going, if I, instead of being worried about starting one channel, why don't I just do 2 channels? What could go wrong? And
you go.
that'll fix it.
Yep.
But it was actually nice because, like you said, you know, it's lower pressure. It's easier to turn the camera on because you know that compared to other things, you're not as worried about certain things you would be worried about if it was a job, right, or tied to a job. And so, yeah, it feels a bit more natural. And through that at least for me, like that natural sense of trying to find a flow in it has actually helped with trying to make music content now. Because,
yeah.
you know, it's like your brain starts to associate positive feelings with the idea of making videos. When previously all my feelings towards it were negative. So it's been really nice. Yeah.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you probably will agree with this, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like for me, it was so I'm kind of similar. Like my normal job requires like content creation and stuff like that, right? For promotion and marketing or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was so uncomfortable with it, right? But you start and you kind of bumble your way through, and you get more comfortable over time. And this is sort of the same thing. And what's been the most comforting to me is to think about, you know, I think most people, certainly myself, when you start out, it's like discouraging because you get 3 views and 2 likes, and like no one cares, and no, you know, it's not that no one cares, it's just that no one's seen it yet, right?
Yeah.
But what's been comforting is to think about like that's actually a good thing because I'm not that good at this yet, and so nobody's seeing me doing my practice runs. By the time I get good and it picks up some traction, then more people are seeing it, and it all kind of works out. And then this has been such great practice to translate back over and to the normal job and stuff. So it's just another way to try to take the pressure off and not worry, like just kind of going and did you have like a similar thing where it's kind of like you almost take comfort in the fact that nobody sees me being bad at this yet, and then you get better? Yeah.
I know for me, because there was no kind of attachment in the sense of like outcome attachment, related attachment to the channel. The very beginning, I was like, oh, 7 views. Wow, 7 whole views. Like I didn't care. Like it didn't matter. It was actually kind of comforting because, you know, I always think of that image of the iceberg, you know, and it's like what you see is the success part, and then the giant bit of the iceberg is actually underwater. And that's kind of how it is, you know. It's like we were just joking about that before the stream started. It's like a success story overnight, you know, over 10 years, you know, kind of thing. And that overnight success story that took place over 10 years.
People don't see it.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah. And then it becomes all romanticized, I think, too. Is like, oh, this person came up from nothing and now they're doing this thing, and you know, but they don't realize the point A to point B is there's so much in between, you know.
There's so much, and it's so valuable to talk about too, right? Because like you're saying, people don't. It's like we all kind of know that's a thing, but we don't.
Yeah.
We don't think about it when we see somebody have some success. We're just like, oh man, must be nice, or like, man, they're so lucky, or like that's such a natural human reaction.
Totally.
It's just, it's never, I mean, sometimes it's true, right? Sometimes people just get, luck is a thing, it's fine. But most of the time, there's just so much more that goes into it. And, but it's hard to remember. I've sort of had a lot of reminders of that in my normal job, like in the fitness industry. Like everybody has, it's such a good example of it, right? Like no one's going to get in shape overnight. Like it takes a long time. So I kind of constantly get barraged by the reminder, but it's an important thing to remember, I think, as the consumer, right? To see it.
True.
Yeah.
I completely agree. And actually, using a fitness analogy as well, because I always love my analogies. But how a lot of the muscle growth, I guess you could say, is if you're doing 10 reps and you can really only do 10, but you kind of force that 11th and 12th one. A lot of it comes from the 11th and 12th, but everything it's the first 10 that gets you there. So it's a lot of that, like, as part of this, the part that people see that ends up, maybe exploding or becoming a thing in all aspects of life is that 11th and 12th, but really you need the 10 to get there. So
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I see some comments coming in too. I just wanted to highlight them.
Let's do it.
Let's see here. Just going back to the beginning here. Hey, it's Jenny.
Jenny, what's up?
Hey, it's so nice to see you here.
I'm sure we will talk about Light and Shadow here at some point.
Oh yeah, we'll be gushing for sure. Got my copy right here. I've been taking off the cover so that I can I
usually do that too.
Yeah.
I don't want to like tear it or something.
Totally, yeah. And the artwork is just so gorgeous. I'm like, must preserve, must protect.
Yes.
Hey, Capricious Fox, how are you?
What's going on?
Annie, how's it going?
Hey, hello.
Welcome. YouTube has been around for 18 years.
Has it really?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Wild.
I remember, and this is going to date me, but I remember being in college and seeing, do you know this comedian, Russell Peters? Have you ever heard of him? He was like this Indian-Canadian comedian, and he would do all these great impressions of like different cultures, Indian culture, and just like, that was like his big thing, but he exploded on YouTube in like 2005, I think.
Wow.
Or 2004 or 2005, like right when it came out. It's like one of the first things to explode on YouTube. So
that's those early adopters, man. It's like all these people getting rich off TikTok and stuff were the first people to jump on, and
100%. Nikhil is a glutton for punishment. I really do kind of put myself out there a little too much sometimes.
I like to say we're like butter scraped over too much bread. That's
totally. That's like not even just a line, it's a lifestyle,
I made I can't remember what I was talking about. As part of my PhD, I teach a class, and I made that reference in relation to it's like an exercise science class. So it was in relation to something about not trying to do too much. You still have to be able to recover and things like that. And I said that line, and I just kind of looked out like, does anybody, and not a single person like seemed like they recognized the line. I was like, I'm
really
let down. Y'all need to read more.
That is so tragic.
Yeah, it's bad.
Hey Sam, I just found a book. Actually, I was on a walk in the evening yesterday, and I went to the little free library at one of this of these corners. And so I'll put a bunch of books in there. I'll take a few, and I saw one called The Pause Principle. I'm like, if I've ever needed a book, it's right now. Luckily, it's not too short or not too long, so hopefully I can pause long enough to read it. But
there you go. I like that. Is it nonfiction?
It's nonfiction. Yeah. Yo, Alicia, good to see you. Thanks for coming. It's a nonfiction. I would love to know from you, Jake, as well. As I know how passionate you are about fantasy and fiction, of course. Do you read nonfiction as well, or is it kind of exclusively fiction?
It's been I read a lot of research papers for my program, if you count that.
Totally.
Very dry. Definitely not. Some of them feel more like fiction than nonfiction, for what that's worth. But exercise science is a weird field, man. But no, jokes aside, I haven't read like a nonfiction book in a while. There was a time where that was actually almost all I read for a little while. This was probably I was in my undergrad, so this was probably 2017, 2018, 2019, somewhere in there. 2016, I don't know, somewhere in that range, mid to late 2010s. And I kind of went through this. I read like a basic business book. I think it was a personal MBA. I think is what it was called.
Just
to get some super basics. And I read Thinking Fast and Slow.
Nice.
I liked that one a lot. It was really it was cool. I read a lot of some like stoicism things. like meditations I loved from
Oh,
Aurelius.
yep.
Ego is the Enemy, some of Ryan Holiday's
Ryan
stuff.
Holiday. Yep.
What else did I do? I did The War of Art was huge for
Oh
me.
yeah, great one. Yeah.
Love that book. And
Yeah.
like in his other ones too, like Turning Pro, and what was the third one? Doing the Work, is that what it was called maybe?
I don't think I've read those actually.
They're
I'll have to
great.
check.
The
Yeah.
War of Art is still by far my favorite of them, but they were good because at that time I was very much in like it's such a pivotal transition period in my life of
Yeah.
like trying to figure out what I'm doing, trying to set up a career, and like I started school and I'm like, well, what am I gonna do? And I'm trying to learn,
Yeah.
like, I knew I wanted to work for myself at some point, so I'm trying to learn some business stuff. I'm trying to learn how do I get my mind to not get in my own way? How do I stop sabotaging myself? How do
Mhm.
I, start to try to make content and all this dumb stuff? Not dumb,
Yeah.
but
No.
at the time it felt dumb and like, oh, everyone's gonna judge me, and but yeah, so I was reading a lot of stuff to help with that, and I
Mhm.
was I've always been a really anxious person, so like the stoicism stuff was helping with that quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I actually, funny enough, I got too deep into stoicism, and I actually like sort of bastardized it in a way on accident, to
Mm.
where it sort of became this thing where I tried to like suppress all emotion,
Mm.
not
Mhm.
not just like notice the emotional response and then sift through it to like, why do I feel this way? Okay,
Yeah.
let me make a rational decision. I think that's awesome. But
Yeah.
I took it too far, and now it's like I'm still unlearning some of those habits
Mm.
of like suppressing my emotional responses. So that was weird. But other than that, it was a really helpful period of reading some of those
Yeah.
books. But then I was like, fantasy, dragons are cool, so I'll roll
Totally,
with
man.
that.
Yeah. Well, no, it's so funny how similar our arcs have been reading wise as well, because I was going through a transitional time as well. 2016 is kind of when I decided, end of 2016 is when I decided to switch from songwriting and playing in bands to composing. And that was that 2016 to about 2018 or 2019 until I discovered the Wheel of Time. I was pretty much exclusively
Yeah.
nonfiction, and I was reading God, what was that book? The Atomic Habits. I forget if I mentioned to
Yeah,
you.
there you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And this idea of small incremental improvements,
Mhm.
amazing book. There was another one called Deep Work by Cal Newport about
Okay.
figuring out how to stay focused in a digital world, with
Mm,
digital distractions and stuff like that, and kind of
yeah.
figuring out ways of being, time blocking your creativity, and
Yeah.
really great book. And then I read A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, which is an amazing book as well. So
I haven't
kind
heard of
of
that one.
similar to some of the Stoicist principles, and also, he's like a spiritual teacher, and he has a lot of idea concepts on how to stay in presence when
Mm,
something happens, and not judge the thing for the content of what's happening, but more,
yeah.
or like impose on it, what you wish it would or wouldn't be. Your resistance to it often makes it even worse, kind of thing.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah, but
That's
to your
cool.
point, I think like the idea of going too deep into the stoicism and having to kind of figure yourself back, bring yourself back. I almost feel like, because I've done that before too, where I've gone too deep into a meditation, that it was kind of figuring out like, how do I bring that off the proverbial mountaintop, so to speak, or like,
Mhm.
how do I integrate that into a life that I actually want to live,
Yeah.
And maybe that's also, because I feel like also we're probably both people who, when we, and let me know, what you think of this idea, but like, it seems like at least we're both people who, when we like something, we'll go full on into it. And
Yeah.
so I think it's just very easy for that to happen, and maybe that's part of the process too, is the learning and then
Yeah.
unlearning and learning and unlearning. And
Yeah, I think that's true. That's a good way to look at it too. Who was
yeah.
I was just talking to a friend of mine. Was that yesterday? I think it was yesterday. We were just talking about like mistakes that we've made
Hmm.
with like you know, uh, he does a very similar thing to me for work, like fitness stuff, coaching, personal training, blah blah blah. And we were just talking about like the endless things that you try and do wrong and whatever, right?
Hmm.
And how mistakes are actually a very good thing, and because they're the teachers, right? And it's like being there's like that sweet spot, I think, of we shouldn't fear mistakes and let that hold us back from trying things. But at the same time, I think somebody can go too far to the point where they're just so reckless and so willy-nilly and whatever that like you almost embrace the mistakes too much, and then you're not bothered when you make a mistake, which we don't want to be crushed, obviously.
Right.
But if you're bothered a little bit, like that's good. It shows that you care, and it's like that's the impetus for actually trying to do something different next time, right? So it's such an interesting thing to think through, right? That sort of trying things, make mistakes, reflect, try to learn, try something else, another mistake, and then just going through that process, and eventually you figure it out, right? But
it's totally cool. I really kind of resonated with what you were saying there. It's almost like saying, it's like you don't want to crave mistakes.
Right.
Like you don't want to crave that feeling of making a mistake, but then of course you also don't want to let it derail you. And I guess it is part of the process. Is like, I guess, and it makes you think about even the nature of mistakes in general. Like, what is a mistake? Is it a mistake if it happens once? Is it a mistake if it, what is the degree of that particular thing? I know we're talking about stoicism and spiritualism on a BookTube talk, which I think is probably pretty rare, but I'm here for it. But I will say is like one of the reasons why I really love fantasy, and also other genres like historical fiction and things like that. It's like it's such a canvas to paint on. It's like you can have all sorts of genres within that, and you can have all sorts of allegories, or it's like that. I forget who, I think it was Chibipo, who was on Janny's or Philip's channel maybe, who was talking about transcendental fantasy, or made that term. And I just thought that is such a wonderful thing that you can bring to fantasy. I mean, something that makes you reflect and expands your worldview. It's like fantasy can be anything, and it uses the power of stories and characters to illustrate those points, or to make you think of the world differently. I think that's just so cool. I don't know. For you, like, I know you mentioned Wheel of Time. Were there any other kind of fantasy series, or even just other genres or anything that was like very formative for you in your reading?
Oh wow.
Really putting up a loaded question there, but
yeah, for sure. Really quick, I just want to underscore what you said. I couldn't agree more. And I think I see four corners of the page in the chat his recent interview with Steven Erikson, which was phenomenal, by the way.
So good.
And Erikson, he said this before about how fantasy is such a beautiful genre because you can take a metaphor and make it real. And like, it's such a great, what you just described, like that's what that can be, right? It's so cool. One of the beautiful things about the genre. But anyway, formative, like Harry Potter was massive. That, I mean, I have Hogwarts Castle tattooed. Like, it's just such a big thing for me. I was, when the movies were coming out, I was the same age as Harry. He was supposed to be in the movies, and like I looked like him growing up. Like my hair was shorter at the time, obviously, but it was like kind of curly, kind of wavy, whatever. I had glasses. I didn't get contacts yet, and so everyone told me I looked like Harry. I was scared to death of Voldemort. I had nightmares all the time. Man. So like that was such a huge, just going through and conquering that fear of and like that was huge for me. That was probably the biggest one. Aragon was massive. That was like the first thing that I saw it in my grade school library. I was like, this is cool. It was like maybe the first thing that I grabbed fully on my own and read fully on my own. That was massive.
Wow, that's cool. I haven't read Aragon yet. I really have to.
It's fun. It's it was the first time I'd read anything like it, so it felt, I was like, wow, this is so unique and special. And that now in hindsight, I can see how people say the book one is very derivative of other things, and but also like, what's wrong with that? It's all the tropes that we love, and it's a really fun story. I remember the first book really, really well. And I remember the second book almost as well. I don't remember hardly anything about books 3 and 4. So I did splurge on the Broken Binding ones because of how special that story is to me. So I'll have to reread them.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah, I was salivating over those. Someone posted it in the Discord. So nice. I was like, oh man,
they're so nice.
Cool.
I spent I have a resolution to not spend as much money on books this year, and I'm not doing so good yet. But
I
you
failed
know,
miserably. Yeah, yeah.
it's
It
so
was worth
hard.
a shot.
It's worth a shot. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
I
Uh,
happen. Have you? Do you have over by you, Jake? Like library book sales or used bookstores or anything like that? Because I found incredible deals there. Like a lot of the hardcovers that I have that are in really good condition were like $1 at some of
oh,
these. So
amazing.
it's
I
so
haven't
cool.
found I haven't found anything close to me, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
I've gotten I found some really, really good deals on like some used book websites before, but
mm,
nothing like in person, unfortunately, yet.
yeah,
Other
yeah.
than the ICFA conference that I went to last month, that had some great stuff.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was fun.
absolutely. How was that conference?
Oh, dude, it was unbelievable. It was like you're just sitting there. Me and Chance were there together, and
Oh,
then like
great. Yeah.
which was awesome just to hang out with him. But which another example, right? You meet somebody, you make friends over BookTube, and all of a sudden you're actual real life friends, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
100%.
but we were hanging out with like Jared from the Fantasy Thinker, and we met Alex Banks, books with Banks. He gave
Hmm.
like it's like an academic conference, right? So like
Wow. Yeah.
we missed his presentation, but he gave one anyway. So it's like you meet these people, which is awesome. And then we're just sitting there hanging out, and it's like us, and then Janny's right here, AP Canneman's
Oh,
right
it's so
here,
cool.
Stephen Donaldson's over here, and you're just like all talking about whatever. Like we soaked in so much information. It was unbelievable. And then the bookstore obviously was great.
That is amazing, man.
Yeah,
Oh man, I would have
it's
loved
fun.
to be a fly on the wall for that. I saw that picture of you and Jenny, and I think
Yeah,
Chad in it, and yeah,
yeah.
that's
Oh, it
great.
was so
Oh
fun.
man, so
Yeah,
awesome. Always
it's
feel FOMO when I get to see stuff like that
hey
in a
man,
good way, you know. In the
come over to Florida next year, dude. We
oh
can
man, yeah, I know. I'm
be
I'm
fun.
due for an East Coast trip, anyways.
There
You
you
know,
go. There you go.
definitely. Yeah, if you're ever in LA, I will take you on a bookstore tour. And we will do all the crazy.
Awesome.
We'll get all the sales. You know.
Yeah, let's
You
do
can
it.
just bring an extra suitcase for the books, and you'll be
That's the
all set.
hard part, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the hard part. I was fine because I just drove there.
Oh God,
So it
that's
worked out.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, it worked out good for. I got like I think I got 4 Wheel of Time books because they had a bunch of literally like first edition hardcovers, mint condition. So I was like, and they were like $3. Like, okay,
Oh
I
my
have to buy
God.
these, right? Yeah.
Oh, that is
Like
the dream.
I think I bought like 10 books there.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, it
I
was. I'm glad I didn't have to fly with them.
I think it was on thriftbooks.com that I
Yeah,
found used copies of first edition Wheel of Time books. And so I've been kind of slowly collecting them. I think I'm
nice.
missing the first 4. No, first 3 now.
Okay, that's not
And
bad.
then but everything else I have now. So slowly making my way through. But what do you think
I,
of those old Wheel of Time covers, by the way?
I actually love them. I
Yeah.
have such a soft spot for that, just old school classic. Um, I don't even know who the artist was on some of those, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't know. It speaks to me on some. There's some like purity to that
Yeah.
like it's just I love it. And all the old like the Drist covers, the Dragonlance covers, the who is that? The Rune Lords books are the same kind of style.
Yeah.
The is it L.E. Modesset or something like that? I'm not sure how to say the name.
Hmm.
But those covers are all like it's just that the Wars Light and Shadow covers are like that, right? Like
Yeah.
just
Oh yeah.
oh man, it's so I even have that now with been reading Book of the New Sun, right?
Oh,
Like this
nice.
has the same kind of vibe. Like it's just
Oh yeah.
oh dude. Yeah, I
That
love
is
it.
so cool, man.
I love it.
Oh yeah, I know. It's like you can tell they're like commissioned art. They're painted oftentimes, and it's like I think about old school album covers as well. It's very
Yeah.
similar in that
Yeah.
respect. It's like they commission an artist to do a painting, and that was
Yeah.
like completely from with guidance, of course, but like from their imagination. And I just think that is such a cool approach to
It is.
the art form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That's like one of the cool things about like I'm not the biggest fan of the genre as
Hmm.
just purely like musically, but like
Yeah.
if you look at some of the like black metal stuff
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
like it has those it's just like an oil painting that's just
Hmm.
beautiful for the album cover. I'm like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Totally.
I love that. I love that.
I remember first discovering Iron Maiden in high school, And part of what attracted me to the band was like I would be in this, CD shops back then, and I would see those covers, and I was like, "What is this?" And then it just so happened that the music was incredible. But
There you go.
but yeah, it was like sometimes you do judge a book by its cover. Sometimes you do judge music by the CD cover.
Absolutely.
Or vinyl cover, whatever the kids listen to these days.
Yeah,
the
right.
thumbnail, the JPEG thumbnail.
I remember the CD stores. I used to go to one all the time.
Did you?
One, it was maybe 10 minutes or so from my house when I was
that's awesome.
in high school.
Yeah,
so we
yeah,
used to go out there. Yeah, it was fun.
I know vinyl sales have exploded over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
They've increased by 10,000% or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's the biggest selling. It's the biggest selling for music in general. I mean, because people don't even buy digital downloads anymore. But there's something about vinyl. It's like the sound of it is incredible. And then, of course, it has the gatefold sleeves with the artwork. The lyrics are written on it oftentimes. There's pictures. It's an experience.
Yeah. Is that like the special edition book, like the leather bound, the whatever, the Kickstarter version of music? Yeah, that's cool.
So like nowadays, when you see any soundtrack released on major platforms, like for example, Sinners, which that movie that came out just recently with Ryan Coogler, and it was the composer was Ludwig Göransson. They just did a vinyl release for that.
Oh,
and
cool.
You see that oftentimes. I forget if the Wheel of Time has one. But I know oftentimes with bigger shows and movies they'll do vinyl releases. So that's like the dream,
Yeah, that's so cool. Did you watch Philip's interview with Don Mates about like cover art and stuff?
Oh my God, it was brilliant. It was so interesting.
Yeah, I loved it.
Me too.
Cool.
Yeah, I was like, it's fascinating to hear someone who's such an expert at their craft talk, because it's like even if you don't have any understanding of that stuff, or you're looking at it from the outside, you can really appreciate, because I feel like it's the creative aspect of doing anything, and it's like the language that you speak is what it translates to. So if it was if it's music, if it's science, if it's art, there's a degree of imagination and creativity in every single one of them, and so you can just appreciate that aspect of it, and it's fun to listen to an expert in their craft talk about stuff.
It is.
Like, I love Philip. Like, I love the way he does deep dives on his channel like that. He'll have.
Me too.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so cool.
It really is.
I just saw there's a bunch of comments. I'm like totally behind. Sorry, you guys.
It's always hard to balance the comments versus not wanting to like disrupt the flow and.
Totally. Yeah. It's always a juggling act, in the best possible way.
Yeah,
for the best possible reasons.
Good problem to have.
Yep. Janny says, "Wow, I love you guys digging into the meat of self-reflection." Oh yeah,
no, that's true. It's
I
so
feel
important.
like 100%. I think it's like books like Wars of Light and Shadow really kind of they paint these characters with like the book has these characters with complete subtlety and complexity, and it's like it forces you to self-reflect. I think in a lot of ways, it's like putting a mirror in front of you, because you. In a way, you project your own experiences onto those characters, or you relate to the characters because you can relate to some aspect of them that you see in yourself. And so it is kind of that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Let's see. Hey, Joseph! The middle way is the answer to bring things off the mountain. In short, I'd recommend the book No Nonsense Spirituality. Cool. I've never heard of that one, actually.
Me either.
To check that out. Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Joseph. I will add it to my nonfiction TBR.
There you go.
Which is also massive, not to be confused. We're just a bunch of nerds.
I hope that's not true, but there's probably a kernel there. Anyone who wants to point a camera at their face, there's probably a little bit, huh?
Totally, yeah. It's used for good, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
Mistakes tend to be treated and
it's true.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. Hey, what's up, man? Good to see you, David.
I love his channel, man. He's it's good to see him getting more and more
recognition.
Yeah.
I love it, like the passion and energy he brings to his book discussions. It's so cool. It's like you can't help but go, you know what? I was never going to read this particular one, but now I'm just going to read all of them just because you are so excited about it. You know,
Yeah.
it's like that kind of enthusiasm that I really
Yeah.
appreciate. Yeah. Oh, Language of Dream and Mythscapes, defining beliefs, fantasy explores where we are and where we have yet to tread. Oh, that's
Mm.
beautiful. I think I remember Jenny was mentioning also is like how she got all this life experience and traveled and did all these things so that she could have what she needed to pull as a wellspring for Wars of
Yeah.
Light and Shadow.
You
You can
can
see
tell,
that.
man.
I mean,
You can tell. Whew.
I would love to know, kind of as we go through these comments, but I would also love to know your experience with Wars of Light and Shadow thus far, because I know we were talking about that a little bit, and like just I loved your the video that you posted today, which if anybody's
Thanks.
curious about Wars of Light and Shadow and wants extra context to what they're reading, or they want to kind of investigate the series a little bit further, that video is on Jake's channel. He just released it today, but yeah, we'd love to know, like, how did you feel about ships as opposed or like in comparison to Curse of the Mistwraith?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Thank you for the shout out for the video, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I told you before we recorded, that's the hardest I've worked on a video so far.
Yeah.
There's the most editing I've ever done.
Yeah.
I was able to find some gorgeous artwork from
Mhm.
Janny's website that she did, by the way.
So
So
cool.
it's
Yeah.
that was helpful to bring some of those things to life, I think, visually. And fair warning, they're very minor spoilers, right? It's all like ground level stuff. But if you want to be completely blind, like I personally, I wouldn't watch the video, right? Because I'm like the most spoiler sensitive person ever. But so if that sort of thing scares you off, then that's okay. But if you're okay with some very ground level stuff, there you go. But yeah, please watch it. But anyway, dude, this series, I don't even know how to describe it, man. There's just it's speaking to me on a level that I haven't really experienced before. I think because it's like it's just the right amount of challenging for where I'm at right now. Like it's very clear. It's not confusing. Everything's right there on the page. But like some of the word choice is challenging me a bit. But I think much larger than that is like just how intimately we get to see these characters and how honestly and vulnerably they're portrayed. I've been thinking about this a lot lately with character and like I think one of the reasons I like Hadrian from Sun Eater so much, or some of the Erathon and Lysair and like some of these characters that just stick with me the most. I think it's because like you can just tell the author is so vulnerable when they write them. Like you can see the facets of who they are in good ways, but also in the bad ways and how they grapple with that. And like that's just such a prominent thing in this series with all the characters. It's not even just Erathon and Lysair. It's like everybody. And the further I'm not much further than you. I've just finished Warhost.
Yeah.
It seems to me that that's the case. The deeper we get, we start to see more and more layers coming off of tons of characters, and we just get into their brains more. And I don't know. It's just like, when did I read Mistwraith? January? Yeah, January.
Yeah.
Like it's just seared into my brain. I don't know what it is. Like I can't stop thinking about these books, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the story, like the characters are amazing. The story itself, just the plot. I'm a sucker for just a cool plot, right? I can enjoy, even if that's the only good thing in a book, I'll still, it won't be my favorite thing ever, but I'll still enjoy it.
Sure.
So the plot is awesome. It's got that classic feel. The prose is just so beautiful and just kind of pulls me along. And it's just such a joy to read. Like,
yeah.
It's just genuinely fun to read the words on the page, let alone what's actually happening.
Right.
So my experience reading it has just been so incredible, and I just want to talk about it all the time. And the read along that we're doing for it is so fun, getting to talk to other people about it too. And like I know you feel the same way. Like when you read a great book, it's awesome. But when you read a great book and then get to talk about it with friends, it's even better. Like you just, oh man, it adds so much to the experience. So I don't know. I'm so grateful that I'm reading this series right now. Right? It's I want to go back and reread The Gallant actually, now that I've seen some of the early parts of the story to see if it's different. So yeah,
No, I'm the same way. Like I feel like that's why I feel about this particular series, and also Malazan Book of the Fallen to some extent.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hard to look at the back of the book and decide if it's for you or not, because
Yes.
there's so it's you just cannot explain what the series is about in
No.
just like a blurb or something.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't hit in the same way as reading the pages, because you see the characters unfold slowly, you see the intrigue unfold slowly. Even a particular clash between two opposing parties is happening, this build up that's slow and taking its time, so
Yeah.
that when it hits, it's going to mean something.
Yes.
But you can't really describe that in a blurb and have it have the impact. So it is a classic slow burn, but for the best of reasons, which is serving the characters in the story.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
so yeah, preaching to the choir.
Yeah,
I've been
man.
loving it. I have been realizing for myself is I've been making the mistake of trying to read this after a full day's work, and
Mm.
trying to read it at night when
A little
I'm already
tricky.
pretty bleary eyed is probably not the best way to experience it. So I've been trying to wake up early now and read it, or midday maybe take a break and read it, and that's actually been
Sure.
helping a ton more.
Nice.
And just doing funny little hacks, like I don't know if this makes sense to you, but I know for me with the prose, it's like it's like you sip a cognac or something. You're not like sitting there like chugging a beer or something. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
what analogy,
Yeah, for sure.
it's
For sure.
like
That's a great analogy.
it's meant to, the prose is like meant to be, savored.
Yes.
So I like sitting at the desk and reading,
Mm.
rather than just like lounging on the couch or something. I find it harder to concentrate and give it the attention it needs. But when I sit at the
Sure.
desk, and it feels very intentional, just like the
Mm.
prose is intentional, just like the
Yeah.
the writing is intentional, then it feels like I'm giving what the book needs
Yeah.
for me to get the most out of it. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I think I've always been reading these books like first thing in the morning when I get
Mm,
up,
yeah.
because I know, I just want to be able to devote the time and attention to it. Not just
Hmm.
that it needs or deserves or whatever, like maybe, but I just want to, right? Like it's just I wake up and I'm excited to read it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's oh man, and what a good way to start your day also. It's the other
Right.
cool
Yeah.
thing. The bad part is you look up and it's like, "Oh, whoops, I've been reading for 3 hours.
Right.
I need to go do some other things." Uh, that's the tough part, but
The
especially with
balancing.
I don't know if you, have done this or not, but I try very hard to read, like, the chapter set just together,
Mhm.
and then stop. So what gets me in trouble is when you might have a chapter set that's maybe 25, 30 pages long or something, right? You
Yeah.
have like the longer piece at the beginning, two shorter ones, and then the three sentences to end, which I love. The structure is so cool.
Oh,
Also,
that's
like this just,
awesome. Yeah.
um, so I want to read that as a whole. I try not to split them up if I don't absolutely have to. And what
Same.
gets me in trouble is when there's one that's kind of short-ish, and I'm like, I can do another one, but then all of a sudden it's I'm spending half my day doing it, which is
Yeah,
great, but
yeah.
like, oh, I should probably get some work done. Um,
Famous last words. Oh, this shouldn't take too long.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the double-edged sword of working from home is now all of a sudden I get to work until 8 p.m. and then go to bed immediately. But oh well. Oh,
As someone who also works from home, I can completely relate to this.
uh-huh. It's a beautiful thing, the
Yeah.
flexibility, but it's also can get you sometimes.
Oh, 100%. Just a random side tangent about that actually is, do you find working from home, like, is it, does it, do you end up just working more hours because it's just so easy to not separate yourself from it? Or do you find you're able to establish that boundary? Because that's something I struggle with personally.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Boundaries are tough. I'm pretty good at the boundaries when I'm working on something I don't particularly want to be working on.
Sure. Yeah.
Uh, but I'm very fortunate that I genuinely love what I do, and most of it anyway. It doesn't matter what job it is. There's always gonna be something you don't like, right? But
Yeah.
um, so like when you have that, and especially not just working from home, but working for yourself, it's like there's always something else you can do, right? Like you never clock out. Your brain's always thinking about it,
Yeah.
which is cool, but it's probably one of the biggest downsides. It's like you're saying, it's hard to turn off. It's hard to have those boundaries. That's part of why I read in the morning, because if I don't, I'm just not going to read. I'm going to get
Yeah.
distracted and work all day. So you got to sort of find ways to, at least for me, I've had to try to find ways to make sure that it doesn't just take over my life completely, because I'm also uh, I love my dad, but he gave me the workaholic gene. So I try not to get sucked in, but it's a constant battle of trying to put systems in place to help you not fall into that. Have you had a similar thing, or is it seems like we're very similar in that front
Oh
as
yeah,
well?
oh yeah. Butter spread
Yeah.
over too much bread is kind of
Uh-huh.
my mantra these days.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But no, I find it very difficult to separate. And even when I'm at the gym or something like that, I'm thinking about like,
Yep.
an idea just came to me. I got to write it down my notepad app, and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's very. I find it very difficult. I try to do like a morning meditation that helps to set the
Mm,
tone of the day. But it's definitely something that will probably be a lifelong juggling act for me.
I think so.
A recovering workaholic or something.
Yeah. Yeah, you're never cured, right? You're just
Yeah,
always in
yeah,
recovery.
exactly. First step is admitting you have a problem, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been nice to I've lived with my girlfriend now for like 4 years.
Oh, awesome.
Almost 4 years now. Which has been helpful because she'll be like, dude, can we hang out, please? Like, so she's been very helpful with getting some boundaries in there and actually being a real person and enjoying life and not just trying to do constant work
Yeah,
things, right? So sometimes it's also like, putting yourself in position to have other people there to help you, get your head
totally.
out of the ground. So
Yep. Yeah,
yeah.
I would be completely going overboard even more than I already am if it wasn't for my wife. She like
Hmm.
helps keep me honest with those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I don't know if you have this. If I'm totally honest, sometimes I'm like, dude, we hung out yesterday. Can I work on this thing? Like I love you, but I want to do
Yeah,
this too. So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's always a push and pull, but
Totally, totally.
such
Yeah.
is life.
Yeah, no, I know. Like for Linda, she really actually enjoys having her own alone time, like playing games or doing something.
Awesome. It's
So
important, I think. Yeah.
often, yeah, yeah, totally. So we try to do like a date night at least once a week, and then maybe like a hangout, a couple times, like a movie in the evening or
Sure.
something like that. But
Yeah.
then, like, oftentimes we'll also be doing our own thing, which is a nice balance to have.
It is. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. We're very similar. We try to do the same thing.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
It works. It works good because we both, you know, I think it's important. It's obviously is important to have that time together, right? Of
Yeah,
course. But it's also, I think anyway, it sounds like you're similar. Important to not spend every waking moment together. Like you got to be your own person still, also.
sure, yeah, yeah.
And like, there's stuff she likes to do that I don't like, and there's stuff I like to do. Like she doesn't read, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I can hear she's out, she's pole dancing right now. I can hear we have a pole in our living room,
Oh, cool,
and
cool.
yeah, which is and she loves it. It's awesome. But I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't want to. I don't want to do that. I'll watch you. That's awesome, but
Sure.
I don't
Yeah.
want to partake.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll go do something. So I think that's good to. It's just such a good balance to have, and
Mhm.
you know, I don't know.
Totally. Yeah. You can bring those things into the relationship, or
Yeah,
it's like you
yeah,
both have different interests, and that's great. It makes the
yeah,
relationship even richer, I think.
for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah,
Um, I'm just gonna throw some more comments on here. We've really
yeah.
touched the gamut of topics today, huh?
We have we're
I
all
love
over
it.
the place.
I love it. I love
Oh,
it.
me too, dude. Yeah, it's books are awesome, but like it's fun to talk about other stuff too.
Totally. Yeah. Hey, Samwise. Good to see you, man. Um,
Speaking of Samwise, I got to get in there and reading Gene Wolfe. I got to see some of his videos to help me make sure
oh
I'm not
yeah,
missing too
right.
much.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, I gotta read Earthsea.
me
Have
too.
you read it, Jake?
I have not. I want to
No.
though.
Yeah. I have a question for you as soon as I'm done with some of these comments. Hey,
Mhm.
Chance, good to see you,
Yeah,
man.
classic Wasabi gangsters.
Broken Binding is can't miss. Yeah,
Yeah,
they have my card in their wall and they let me know.
unfortunately, yeah.
I love the way that was put. Oh, it must be about the conference. Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've really been behind on these, huh?
Oh, that's
Um,
okay. This has been
oh,
great.
Scandinavia, cool. I'm sure it's beautiful
Interesting.
there.
Yeah,
You have that for sure. Yeah, $1 books are kind of insane, honestly. And
yeah.
the library is only 2 blocks away, so it's dangerously close. And it's
It
always
is
really
dangerous.
funny to see that bookstore was dangerous. It's always really funny to see the long lines outside of a library and people like practically pushing and shoving each other on a Saturday
Wow.
morning to get at the books. It is insane.
Wow. That's
It
actually
is
cool
like,
though.
it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
It's like every day feels like or every month feels like a midnight release of something. Oh, the Juniper covers are great. Yeah.
They
Have you
are.
seen those?
Yeah. This is like the orangish red ones, right? With the
Yeah,
dragon
yeah.
across the front. Yeah, those are cool. Those are
Totally.
cool. I'm kind of I'm considering I just have them on mass market paperback, other than
Mm-hmm.
those couple hardcovers I found. I'm considering, do I want to get the Dragonsteel special edition ones?
Oh,
I'm
that is a good
considering.
question.
So
Do you think you're gonna do it?
knowing me, probably. It's just one per year, right? It's palatable, and I got to see the price point first, though. That's the main thing.
Yeah. That's always the gamble.
Yeah, Michael Whalen. I love Michael
Oh,
Whalen stuff
Michael
for
Whalen's
sure.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stephen Hickman. Yeah. So many artists.
Yeah.
And Janny Wurts, of course.
There you go.
Oh, I think I might have missed a couple. Sorry if I missed any here. This thing was like glitching out. Max Scarfield says, "Oh, Sundered Nation by Von Roycroft." Yeah,
I gotta
have you
get to
read any of
those.
these?
I have the first. He was very, very nice and sent me the first two.
Oh, amazing.
I got. He's so nice, man. He's the man.
Yeah.
I
I
gotta
think
get
we
to
follow
those.
each other on Instagram or something. But
Cool. Yeah. And then I know Shay and David read the first one and loved it.
Oh,
So I got to get to it at some point. Yeah.
yeah. That might be a 2026 thing for me
There
personally.
you go.
Got to plan your book reading addictions 2 years in advance, you know.
So
Otherwise, what are we doing, you know?
Especially once you start getting into read-alongs and stuff, like
Yeah.
you almost kind of have to. It's just, if you're not organized, you kind of, it's tough.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, John from Disquiet and Dragons. Good to see you, man.
It's a cool name.
Yeah, and he has a. I forget if I told you last time, Jake, but he has an awesome channel because he lives in the English countryside, and he always has like beautiful nature scapes,
Oh,
you know, in his
yeah.
videos. And
You
yeah,
did mention that. I don't know if
yeah.
I caught the name last time. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, and he's just a lovely guy. Just
That's
one of the
awesome.
kindest people on BookTube, really. The Gallant sold me on the series immediately. Verena is my favorite. Nice.
Good. Very good. Very good.
We've been doing the soft read along on our channel here. I always read while sitting at the desk. Get to know I'm in good company.
Yeah, there you go. I used to. I got a little chair now. It's a little more comfy.
Yeah. I would love to know, Jake. Do you? I know we were talking about books that are kind of more formative and stuff, and I would love to know, like, are there any on your bucket list that you're?
Oh, dude, so many.
Yeah.
So many. Book of the New Sun was one, actually. So finally starting that. Not nearly as intimidating as I thought it would be, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not, it's just a book, right? Which is just, that's what Malazan's like. That's what Wars of Light and Shadow, like, it's not that bad. But,
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was one. Some of the other ones that are like, I haven't read any Robin Hobb, which I know is, I know.
You're in for a treat then.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be one. That's why I keep pushing it off. Is like, I know I'm going to love it. I don't want to burn through all of my favorite series.
Yeah.
But that's a huge one. I know Scott Lynch's stuff, The Gentleman Bastards. I know I got to do. I haven't done Name of the Wind. I haven't done The Expanse. A lot of sci-fi I read actually very little sci-fi. I read the 6 Herbert Dune books. I read all Red Rising. I read all Sun Eater. Other than that, it's just been like some Star Wars books. I haven't read Hyperion. I haven't read any Asimov. I haven't read any Alistair Reynolds. There's just so much.
Do you like more space opera sci-fi, or do you like hard concept sci-fi, or do you like third?
Most of what I've read has been space opera, and I really love it.
Yeah.
So my gut reaction is to say I lean that way, but I just haven't read much of anything else, really.
Yeah.
So I would like, because even Dune kind of leans that way a little bit as you get a little deeper. Totally. So it's tough. I want to expand and just read more different things. Like even Book of the New Sun is don't know. I guess it's more, at least so far, seems more just dystopian than I don't know. But yeah, I just, there's so much of the horizon that I need to explore on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
sci-fi front.
Oh, that's
Or
cool, man.
I
Yeah.
haven't done any Stephen King.
Oh,
There's so much. Like people say my bookcases are really like big and whatever, and it's like, I guess, but they look bigger than they are on camera, right? I
yeah.
feel like I've read a good amount of stuff, but like there's just so much that I haven't gotten to, and especially older stuff. I really want to go in there, and I feel such a draw to older series, and I just want to. There's just so much I haven't read. I want to see some of those foundational things, and I want some of the pulpy stuff. I want to read the Dragonlance books. I want to,
Totally.
I want to read the Black Company. There's so much stuff. So,
Same.
oh,
Yeah, you're
yeah.
preaching to the choir here.
Yeah.
Again, like all these ones that you mentioned are ones that I've either those first sci-fi ones you mentioned I had read, or I'm in the process of reading. I'm on book 5 of The Expanse right now.
Awesome.
And it's that's a great, like, I would say it almost starts off as like a heist sci-fi thing.
Oh, cool.
And it's got some mystery, and then it starts to evolve into a space opera as it goes.
Ooh.
And so that's really cool, and I think you might really like that aspect of it. And if you're looking for hard concept sci-fi, I would highly recommend. It's also very bizarre, but it's in the best of ways.
Okay.
It is the Remembrance of Earth's Past trilogy, which is the first book is the 3-box problem.
Yeah. I do need to read those for sure. I'm intimidated in the sense of, like, I don't know if intimidated is the right word. I just know I've heard a lot of people bounce off of it.
Yeah.
I'm a little like arm's length, but I'm also like, I know like Tom Orange loves it. Like, he loves it so much, and I feel like I have pretty similar taste to him in some ways. So I don't know, but yeah, if you give it the stamp of approval as well, then that's another good sign that I'm gonna have to get to it.
Personally, like, it's one of my favorite trilogies of all time.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just something about it is just like, I like you, like so many other people, are character, really get into characters when I'm reading books, and sometimes I feel almost like I'm a character first kind of person. And so reading a hard concept sci-fi trilogy where the characters are not the main focus should not be as interesting to me as it is.
Sure.
But it paints the idea of like first contact story in a completely the mind-bending light, yet it also has a lot of plausibility in it. It really explores like the dark forest theory, the idea of like, if somebody knew there was aliens out there, would we want to contact them? Because who else might be listening? And also, we don't know what they know about us, and they don't know what we know about them. So nobody wants to make that first move. So it's a little bit of a chess game too. And it's like the idea of like, why have we not been able to find extraterrestrial life so far? Is there a reason behind it? Is that more nefarious than it seems? Like, it's fascinating stuff.
Sounds like it.
And I would say the character, like, I still remember a couple of the characters as being amazing characters, but it's not in the characters where you're seeing a lot of their inner dialogue and this and that. But through the situations they're in and kind of how they react to those situations, you kind of grow they become beloved characters. So it's not character first in any traditional sense, but as you go through the series, you kind of start to really appreciate some of those characters. That's how I felt anyways.
Cool.
But
yeah, I like it a lot.
It's definitely mind-blowing stuff.
Okay, I gotta do it.
Just do it. Forsake the rest of your TBR.
Yeah. What about you? Do you have any other big bucket list stuff you haven't gotten to yet?
Book of the New Sun is actually one of them. I'm finally doing Wars of Light and Shadow and Malazan, which I'm really happy about. Those were definitely bucket list things. I want to make my way through more of Realm of the Elderlings because I just started Live Ship Traders. I'm reading with John from Disquiet and Dragons and another channel.
Nice.
Ellie from Bibbidi Bobbidi Books. It's an awesome.
That's another great name.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and just like wonderful people and I'm trying to think. As far as like, I'm trying to make my way through all of the Stephen King books. So that is definitely like a long project. Yeah, and I guess like some of the non-fantasy stuff would probably be like Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. I really want to read that this year.
People love that book.
People love it. Yeah. Trying to think what else. I'm sure it's gonna come to me like right after this.
Oh, that's always how it goes.
As it always goes. Yeah.
That's always how it
Oh,
goes.
I want to read Pillars of the Earth and by Ken Follett, and that whole series, Kingsbridge series.
Yeah.
I want to read some of the historical fiction, like Bernard Cornwell's series.
Yeah, those sound really cool.
They sound amazing. Yeah. And fantasy wise, I think those are the main ones I'd probably say. I'm sure there's more, but those are the ones I can think of. I want to finish Dresden Files for sure. I'm only about like 7
Another one
books
I gotta
deep.
do.
Yeah.
Only 7. Yeah. That's funny. That's true though.
17 and counting. I think they're supposed to go up to like 20 something.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's nuts. Yeah, I gotta do Dresden at some point. I want to do like the David Gemmell books.
Oh yeah, right.
Like there's I'm trying to like think through what my list is right now. There's so many, and it's like there's so many that you sort of forget all of them. Does that make sense? Like there's just like
that's why I keep watching BookTube videos to remind me of what I'm
yeah. Dude, I have like a Excel sheet that just has everything listed, and it's so long. It's so long. But there's even some of it's like rereads. Like I've only read Lord of the Rings once.
Yeah.
And that was back in like 2012 or something. And at the time I was like, it's fine. Movies are way better. But I hadn't read much, at that point. So I want to go back and reread it now that I've read more things and see if I appreciate it more. Or I want to reread Song of Ice and Fire. It's a similar thing. It's the first adult fantasy series I ever read. I want to go back now with different eyes. I'm due for another Harry Potter reread. It's been a long time.
Oh yeah. Can never go wrong.
Yeah, I already want to reread Wars of Light and Shadow just to see. So I want to reread Malazan so bad. Yeah. But I still haven't. I got to do the prequel stuff still. I haven't read Carcanis books yet.
Oh right, yeah. Are those are the Carcanis books? Because I know you were reading. Did you read The God Is Not Willing? Right.
Yes, fantastic book.
Yeah. Oh, would you recommend? So after the 10 books of the Fallen, would you recommend God Is Not Willing next, or do you think something else would be better?
I think you can go any way that you want. God Is Not Willing is a great it's a great next step in terms of like it's sort of next in the chronological order, so to speak. Like it's sort of in some ways a sequel to book 4 of Malazan, House of Chains. Sort of. It's sort of drawing on events from book 4.
I see.
And also some events from book 8.
Oh, cool.
And then you're kind of seeing, progression of stuff in a different area and whatever. So that's a great place to go. And that's the series that he is currently most focused on. I know book 2 in that series comes out in October. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
I think book 3 is supposed to come out the next fall.
Oh, great.
And then I think his current plan is, so that would be what, fall of 26? And then 2027 is supposed to be the final Carcanis trilogy book.
Yeah.
And then 2028, I think, is the plan for the last Witness series book. That book.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So it's a good time to get into that series, I suppose, because you'll have some somewhat regular releases. But like you could do what I did after the Crippled God is I jumped into the Esselmont, his 6-book series, the Novels of Malazan Empire.
Oh, cool.
And if you really enjoy Malazan a lot, I would highly recommend. I think of it as a 16-book series, the main timeline, with both of those two.
Oh, that's good
together.
To know.
It's like you don't have to, you can read it in publication order to where you're kind of mix and matching both of those. But I just read all 10 of Erickson's and then all 6 of Esselmont's, and I think it worked great.
Yeah,
but
that's kind of what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, it was nice. They're very different in some ways and very similar in other ways. The conclusion of the last Esselmont book, A Sail is what it's called, is to me is sort of the conclusion of the series in a lot of ways.
Oh, wow.
It wraps up stuff that you get in Gardens of the Moon. It goes all the way back to there, and it's just phenomenal. So if that's my heart wants to say, read the Esselmont books because they're also underappreciated.
Yeah.
God Is Not Willing is probably the most palatable in the sense that it's shorter. It is a little bit more punchy in some ways. It has that huge epicness to it, and especially if you like the some of those quiet interactions with the Marines through the Malazan books. If you really like that military aspect, like I think it's some of his best and funniest interact. Like the humor is so high in God Is Not Willing.
That's great to know. Yeah,
it's
thanks
awesome.
for the.
Yeah, I really want to do there's the 2 different prequel series, right? That I haven't done either of them, but I want to so bad. It's another one. It's kind of like Hobbes books where I know I'm gonna love it, so I keep trying to push it off because I just don't want it to be over. But we got to get in there at some point. I think especially now that the 3rd Carcanus book is coming for sure. I especially need to read it, so I'm ready for that on release day, because I have a feeling if they're not my favorite in the Malazan universe, they're going to be really high just based on what I've heard. So
wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I got my reading cut out for me. It seems.
Yeah, that's the good thing about, if you like Malazan, there's plenty of content there, right? And there's all the novellas and there's just Yeah.
I got the Humble Bundle thing that they had, which was like a Kindle sale of 22 books or something for $17. It was some insane thing.
Humble Bundle's cool.
Yeah.
I did that with it was all the expanded universe Dune books I got.
Oh, cool.
That people, have some strong opinions on those.
Right.
But I want to read a couple for myself and see how I feel about it, right? So I have however many of those there are, 15 or 20 or something.
Right.
Have all those on my Kindle, just, locked and loaded.
Totally. Capricious Fox says, I haven't read Robin Hobb either, Jake. Been interested in trying out her early sci-fi, published as Megan Lindholm. I've heard about this.
I didn't know that.
And interesting, sentient alien ships. I wonder if that was an influence on her live ship series.
Could be. That sounds cool.
Yeah. When you burn through all your known fantasies series that can destroy your TBR all over again. Yes.
I'm here for it.
Thank you for your service. Let's see. Oh, nice. Alicia, buddy read. Let's do it.
There you go.
I'm in. Already thought about it. I'm in. Oh, interesting. Heaven Tree Trilogy. I've never heard of this.
That sounds cool. Wow.
And it's a similar kind of premise, actually. It's like Pillars of the Earth is about, I think in the year what was it, 1100 or 1200, somewhere around there, and they're building a cathedral. And that's this 1,000-page book, and apparently it's amazing. And this is also about building a cathedral, but from the artist patron's POV. That's fascinating, actually.
Sounds really cool.
It's really cool. Nice.
I'm gonna break my live stream rule and pull out my phone for a second.
Yeah, do it.
Just kind of see
my big Second Apocalypse. That's the other series. R. Scott Baker. I want to read.
I gotta do Baker also.
Yep. Oh, and of course, the Austin Ard series by Tad Williams. I'm gonna be
another one.
Let's see here. One of the finest villains ever, and it will uplift you, blind you with the dedication to the art, and break your heart also. Damn. Wow.
Why do you have to do this to me?
Opening of the World Trilogy by Harry Turtledove. Alternative history fantasy? That sounds incredible.
Cool.
All right, I'm going to be taking notes after the stream, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for these recommendations. It is always really useful, because it's like we start off with the famous last words of, I think I know what I'm going to be reading this month, and then shortly thereafter veers off track. I don't know. How strictly do you stick with your TBR usually? Do you really plan it out and then structure it? Do you prefer to read it that way, or are you a mood reader as well, or a combination thereof?
I would say I'm mostly plan, but with some mood in there. So like what I tend to do, you kind of joked about this earlier about maybe 2026 or whatever, but I kind of do that. I'll kind of pencil in some stuff, especially if they're big long series I want to do that I just don't like to take too long between books. So like
Yeah.
I want to do maybe a month or two between books in a series or something.
Mm.
But I'll kind of pencil in some ideas. And so like I came into January and I had like a super, super rough kind of penciled in like basically the whole year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I go and, you start January off. I like in December, I was like, let me finalize January, but then have like some rough plans afterwards. And then in January, I'm like, okay, well, this is how I felt about what I read there. This is how excited I am for what I had planned coming up. Maybe I want to switch this thing, but like, so it's sort of the plan is there. It's sort of, I think of it sort of like writing a book, right? Like there's an outline, but I have the freedom to, if the character wants to do this, then we'll go off and do that,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like I've already, like the Book of the New Sun thing was not in the plans, but like I had a chance to jump into this read along and I'm going to take it. So
Oh, that's great.
we ditched some of the plans. I had such high hopes of doing the library trilogy here early this year.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to read the first two and I'll be ready for the book 3 release on April 8th or whenever it was. And I still haven't read book 1.
Oh,
I just got distracted. So like there's some mood reading in there. There's some just change of plans. If there's like a cool buddy read or something just catches my eye sometimes. And I'm just like, screw it. We'll just go do that. So yeah, I don't know. I would say I'm maybe 80% plan, 20% mood, something like that. I don't know. What about you?
I think up until now, I've been 80% plan, 20% mood probably as well. Okay. And I found at least this month, I felt it more than I had in previous months. I think in previous months, that was like the perfect flow. But I think for May going forward, I might do what Cliff from Cliff's Dark Gems always talks about as his pile of possibilities. Which I love that title, by the way.
It's cool.
And so I think like what I'm going to do is, since I'm part of these different read-alongs and stuff, I'll lock in those ones. And then if there's a couple slots left, I'm going to go like, I might choose between these 10, and I don't know what it's going to be until I decide in the spur of the moment, completely spontaneous.
Cool.
And these are the 10. What do you all think? Like,
it's good for the channel also, right? You can get people's input. They can help you choose and whatever. Yeah, that's cool.
100%. Yeah. And it's like, I think it can make it more of a community vibe. And then also it could play into my desire for spontaneity, because I do really enjoy. I remember before I even started thinking about starting a BookTube channel, or when I was like way more sporadic with my reading, it was purely spontaneous. And I miss the joy of that, because you would accidentally discover something, you would go with it, and you're like, hey, I like this. I'm just going to read everything back to back because I'm just enjoying it in that moment. Yeah. And there's a flow that you feel when you're reading that way. And of course, this structure allows you to read more varied and more of what you want to read. So it's a trade-off. And I'm just trying to figure out, can we have our cake and eat it too?
Yeah.
Is it possible? So.
Yeah, that's such an interesting point, because I was the same way. I would just, like Wheel of Time we talked about earlier, I just read it straight through. I didn't read other stuff in the middle.
Yeah.
It took me 3 years or whatever to read it, because I didn't read very much. I was reading like 10 pages a day or something.
Yeah.
But and then you start a channel, and all of a sudden you have 10 different series that you're in the middle of, right? Yeah. Which I understand why people do it. Like some of it is just to get the variety, and it's just fun. Some of it's to be more interesting for the viewers also, right? If you're just always talking about the same books, if they don't like that book, they're not going to watch your video. Like I get that. So I understand why people do it, but I agree with you. There's something cool about just going straight through a series sometimes. So I don't know. There's probably a way to make that work.
Yeah. Yeah. Someday we'll figure it out,
Yeah, for sure. I'm kind of doing it, I guess, with like, right before bed, I've been reading a little bit of like the Skyward series from Sanderson.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
I basically have just gone straight through all 4 of those. It's just so incredibly slow.
Yeah.
I think it's probably been like 6 months since I started those.
Oh yeah.
And I just started book 4. Was it last night or the night before? But when you're doing, and it's like this just YA, super fluffy, whatever, easy. Like you could rip through it in a few days if you wanted to, right? But when you read 5 pages before bed or something, it takes a while.
It takes time. Yeah.
But
yeah.
It's been fun to just go from one to the next and kind of just be immersed, in a stronger sense, I guess.
How have you been enjoying the Skyward series? Like in comparison to say Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere work or anything.
Oh wow! I mean, in comparison to Cosmere, right? It's the dirt under the Cosmere's feet. That's a little extreme, maybe, but it's fine. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I like the Cosmere a lot, right? So I think with Skyward, book 1 was still my favorite. I think it was pretty fun, and like the character work I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
And then book 2, I was like, okay, I like this slightly less, but pretty much the same. It was a good progression, I think. Book 3 was tough for me. I had a hard time with a lot of book 3. Big chunks of the middle, like it just felt like it leaned a little bit more into like the absurdist and humor stuff that Sanderson will do sometimes, but it just leaned into it pretty hard, and it just didn't hit for me super well.
I see.
The end of the book I loved, but just kind of especially the beginning, well, the beginning and middle, but especially the middle, I just kind of struggled with. But I'm told that book 4 is usually it's up towards people's favorites in the series. So my faith is still there, I think.
Yeah.
If people said that it was the same as book 3, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'd want to finish it or not.
Right.
But I'm also in this deep. I might as well. So
yeah.
It's been fun. If you like Sanderson stuff, you'll probably like it. But it's not the Cosmere.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I think like for me is I'm excited I still haven't read his secret projects except for Frugal Wizard's Guide. So I'm looking forward to checking.
That's the only one you read?
That's the only one I've read so far.
Dude.
And they've been just sitting on my shelf. Like I'm like, I gotta get to them.
They're so good.
Yeah. That's one of my goals for this year, for sure. Just saw a couple more comments come in. Yeah. Let's see. Ooh, nice. Arthurian Tales by Giles Christian. I've heard of that. Yeah. I also have Red Rising on my shelf. Yeah.
Red Rising is. Have you read Red Rising?
I've only read the first book, and I loved the first half of it. Not as keen on the second half, personally. But I'm excited to check out Golden Sun because I remember Mike's book reviews. He was talking about how that was such a switch up.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
He's right. I thought book 1 was fine.
Yeah.
Book 2, like if you like book 1 at all, you're probably gonna love book 2.
Oh, awesome.
Especially if you're here for some darker stuff.
Yeah.
If you don't like Grimdark at all, you probably won't like it a ton. But the series gets more and more Grimdark as you go, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I love Grimdark actually. So I'm excited.
I think you'll like it a lot.
Yeah. And then let's see. Oh, Guy Gabriel K. That's another one I need to.
Me too.
Yeah. Have you read any GGK yet?
No.
Okay.
I need to.
Yeah.
I need to. There's so many, like Adrian Tchaikovsky. He's written 50 books or whatever, and like I haven't read any. Like there's just so many authors, man.
Yeah. I feel you. I know so many authors, so little time, but we're gonna try anyways, right?
Trying our best. Trying our best.
If only we could just forsake all our work and like life duties and just sit and read. Like, what is that so much to ask? That's what I always want.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I'll go with that.
Yeah. We gotta like pay rent and stuff. Like it's stupid.
Yeah, I know.
Come on now.
Jake, it's been so wonderful having you, man. It's always such a pleasure chatting. It's really it's really great, man. I thank you so much for being here and taking the time on a Friday, And
of course, thank you for having me, man. Thank you. I've had the best time. I love talking to you.
Yeah, likewise.
We got to make sure we keep doing it.
Absolutely, man. If you want to definitely a 20th read along to your list, you just let me know.
I was just gonna say we definitely need to get a buddy read or something figured out.
I would love that. Yeah,
at some point. Yeah, we definitely do.
Totally, man. Yeah, definitely. Sooner than later, we'll make it happen. But
sure.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here, for your lovely comments. It was great to see so many of you familiar faces and new faces too. And we really just appreciate you joining us on this Friday. And hope you all have a lovely weekend. I'm Nikhil with Shelf-Esteem, and we will see you very soon.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.